Okay, Alan, so here's Aiden from our last lesson. He's really making some good improvements here in his overall body speed and the tempo of his movements and some force production and power from the back leg, but still needs to work more on getting out straight and trying to avoid rotation, early rotation. I mean, he has a great load in his back leg. I mean, take a look at how his back knee, how his back hip kind of lowers like he's squatting and he's got all the weight down on the foot and his knee does not extend out past his foot, past his toes, which is excellent. He does a really good job loading the back leg in that position. Where I think he can do better to really see some big improvements here is not so much counter rotating like he does here as he lifts. He counter rotates and he kind of sticks the hip out, but he doesn't really start moving the hips out until about here. So you watch how he pushes the hip out, kind of leans it out, turns the body, but then right after that he kind of pulls the leg out and leads. And I think what's happening here with this counter rotation that he has going this way is that when you counter rotate, you will tend to reverse that and then go the opposite direction a little too far. So what I think would help him is if he would pick up his leg just as he's doing now. I mean, if he likes doing it higher, that's fine. But as he's lifting, to start, driving out from the back leg here and pushing the body straight down the mound so he doesn't start rotating too soon. So watch what happens here. He goes out, and this counter rotation here when he starts is turning away from the hitter, right? But now he has to turn back the other way. So for every amount he goes this way, he now has to swing back the other way. It's that action and reaction principle where for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So he's going to now spin out from this position here. This counter rotation is going to spin out. And watch how early he begins to rotate. You see his front foot now swing open, front knee swings open. All this will swing open, and his knee will now start to bend, and he'll lose drive power in the back leg because it's moving downward. It's bending in. And fortunately, he's strong enough and he's explosive enough with his ankle to actually still get leg drive out of this, but he limited himself a little because he started to rotate too soon. So let me take you back again. Here's where his descend is. He drops the leg. I mean, he counter rotates. He pulls the leg back, and then right here, boom, he starts rotating. Everything starts to move in a rotational way. He doesn't finish. So he needs to continue with this back leg, driving the body down and this foot out this way before he begins this movement here. So he's plenty of room. He has much more stride in him to do that. So what happens because he starts rotating too soon, look at how far across the midline he lands. I mean, he's a good foot on the other side of that line. And that's not good for the arm because it forces, not good for the arm or the back. It puts too much pressure and strain on the elbow when the body's open that much. But also the hips never really lock down because he landed so far across the midline on this side. His hips now have just too much time, too much space to move. Like they don't lock down and then spin quick. They just keep opening and opening because he's landed so far open on that side of the line that even watch his foot have to catch up. See how his foot swivels here at the end to open up his hips even more. So now his hips are facing in that direction. So that's his back hip. This is his front hip facing in that direction, and his target is in this direction. So it strains the arm, it strains the back, it puts too much pressure. For every centimeter that you move off this center line on this side, and it opens your body up here, it creates more pressure and strain and torque on that elbow that it doesn't need. Like the arm has to now overcompensate for that. So it would really benefit him if he were to not he has to get away from this movement here too soon. He's got to get out further, and then he will spin the foot and land somewhere on this black line. And then his hips will, when he does that, he'll slam the foot down, and the hips will open quicker. So he's got too much time to open his hips. So look at how slow his hips open up. His hips have all this time to open up, so they open up slow and long, and they have nowhere else to go. They keep continuing to go, and he loses a lot of force that way. So great job though with his back leg power. We just need to now get this linear movement of the lower body here to really explode, forward and down towards the target. Get this foot to land out here more, and to get late. So when the hips open late, they actually that late movement, that late power, is excellent for hip and shoulder separation. And he gets some hip and shoulder separation right here because he's opened so fast. Like he's just opened so early, not fast, but early. So he does get a little hip and shoulder separation, but not in a very powerful way. So he's not really able to convert that into much ball velocity. If he were to stay straighter down this line, turn late, that would create more torque in the body, in the upper body, and it'll create more linear power, which translates into more torque, converts into more torque. So, but very good job. I mean, he's got great body movements, great control. When he's able to land better and delay that kind of rotation in the lower body until it's time, then his upper body will react a lot better, and he won't be out in front of his belt buckle that far when he lands his front foot. He won't be rotated too soon, and he'll be able to, get that arm to lay back better, and he'll be able to release that ball a little sooner than he is here, right out in front of the elbow there, a little too far out in front of the face. Like everything will just pick up better when he's able to, when he rotates later, when he's able to hold, to resist this movement here of turning the foot, opening up, and then flying the body wide open here. When he's able to get that body out straighter on a line and then open up at the end later, it'll open up faster, and everything will react later and faster. His arm won't be ready to throw so soon. He won't be leaning forward. See how far his chin is out in front of his chest. I mean, his chin is out in front of the hip here. All that will improve if he rotates later and finishes his leg drive. But impressively though, I mean, I'm telling you, he's got great ankle kick here. Look at that ankle kick. That's actually pretty impressive. He can drive off that mound with some pretty good dynamic movement there. We just have to avoid and resist this movement here. It's just too soon in delivery, way too soon, and he's robbing himself of velocity and putting his arm at risk of soreness. He's probably not going to get injured, but it's just over time when you throw wrong, it can catch up to you. So, all right, I hope that helps you out. We will work on linear movement of the lower half. We're working on keeping that body closed off, resisting that temptation to counter rotate here, which causes this action here to overcompensate. He strides way across the line and opens himself up too early. His hips open up too far, and even when he braces his front leg, see how he lands his front leg. I bet you if I had a front view of this, I would see that his knee is on the inside of his ankle, and that's not great for stability either. But he does have strong legs. I mean, he always had that quick, explosive front leg movement. He almost hyperextends a little bit here. Look at that. His front knee almost looks like it hyperextends, which is really unusual for a kid his age. But the point being, that, you know, he lands, I think his stride is long enough, but because he lands so far across that line, um, I think that really has an effect on how much he's able to flex that knee. I mean, had he landed over here, I think the knee would have been in a more flexed position because it's almost like he's overstriding right there at that point, and he just doesn't have much extension back to go. It's just a little bit of an extension, but anyhow, something we can work on. Um, so I hope that helps you out. He's doing great. He's coming along fine. All right.